Dillian the Body Snatcher right here. It's a champ. Big up to Sporting Icon. Subscribe. Otherwise, I might pay you guys a visit.
Alright, so a lot of you seem to be enjoying the fanboy videos that I've been doing recently. I did one last month, I did one yesterday. A lot of you asked me to do them more regularly. Now, I never intended it to be any kind of series, but it may end up turning out to be some kind of series. Now, I get so many comments that I can actually afford to do a numpty of the day and still have enough to do the fanboy ones. Now, if you haven't seen the fanboy videos, it's pretty much me making fun of myself in some of these comments. And it's also about many fanboys who don't see themselves as fanboys, but yet they're calling other people fanboys. They're contradicting themselves in the very same sentence. Okay? Much like numpty of the day. Again, it's not meant to hurt anybody's feelings. And if it does, sorry, it's not meant to. But if it does, hey, it is what it is. Ultimately, if it does hurt your feelings, it's because you just feel a little bit silly for dropping a comment. And hopefully going forward, you'll be a better person for it. Now, again, these numpty of the days and whatever is not meant for me to necessarily put people out there to be hung out to dry, okay? It's not even about the person, really. It's about the comment. Because maybe other people have the very same thought process. So while I could just correct them in the comment section, if I do a video on it, other people will hear it who may have the same thought process and then go, oh, okay, then let me think of something else to try and put down this certain subject, this certain fighter, whatever it may be, okay? It's because there's too many narratives that are just not true. Okay, so numpty of the day. The award goes to Little Fish. Now, I'm presuming, I don't know this for a fact, you'll have to let us know for sure, that fish is not being changed from the original word of tackle. Do you have little tackle? I don't know. Anyway, this is what he had to say. Dillian Whyte never won. Right, firstly, if you want to come across as some kind of expert, like you've got something, some kind of experience, knowledge or whatever it may be, and put certain fighters out there and blast and critique them and this, that and the other, at least get the fighter's name correct. It's not like Dillian is a new guy on the block and he's got a difficult name to spell. All right. Anybody who spells somebody's name wrong, for me, you don't really know what you're talking about. Okay. Maybe they've heard some of these comments from other YouTubers who don't know their ass from their elbow. I don't know what it is. Okay. But if you're going to at least go in on somebody, at least spell their name correctly. In fact, I used to see this quite a lot with some of the Deontay Wilder fans, where Deontay Wilder's king, Deontay Wilder's the best, and blah, blah, blah. Yet they're spelling his name incorrectly. A lot of them were actually calling him Deontay Wilder. I mean, how can you be a fan of somebody and not know how to spell their name? Anyway, it is what it is. Moving forward, Dillian Whyte has never won a European title and has been put to sleep twice. And he's been out on his feet against Parker and Oscar Rivas, not to mention Del Boy. Wilder has only been beaten by a great boxer. Wilder knocks him out. Now, it's not really necessarily about the spelling mistakes as such, but there are a few. Please try to maybe go back to school. But there's so many in here that are just golden nuggets for me, okay? Because I'm not just your average person who just watches other YouTube videos and that's my narrative, not at all, okay? I'm quite capable of thinking for myself and I know facts, okay? Not many people out there could probably do me with them. Now, Dillian Whyte never won a European title. Correct, he's never won a European title, but how did you know? Because clearly, I don't think you know anything else. Where did you get that from? But you are correct, he's never won a European title, but does that mean because he's never won a European title, he can't beat Deontay Wilder? Because he's never won a European title, you can only beat Deontay Wilder if at some point in your history you have won a European title. Okay, let's look at other fighters who's never won a European title. Anthony Joshua has never won a European title. Carl Froch never won a European title. Amir Khan never won a European title. He never won the British either. Nigel Benn, Chris Eubank Sr., never won European titles. In fact, the list goes on and on and on and on and on. So what does winning a European title have to do with anything? Got nothing to do with anything, has it? This is why you are a numpty of the day. But we'll continue. He has been out on his feet against Parker, Oscar Rivas, and not to mention Del Boy. Okay, well, was he out on his feet against Derek Chisora? No, he was tired for sure in the first fight. But was he out on his feet? No. Was Derek Chisora out on his feet? Yep. That's why he was leaning up against the ropes for a lot of the fight, because he was out of it. He was exhausted. And I distinctly remember Derek Chisora hitting the canvas in round number 12, but the referee deemed it as not a knockdown. Watch the replay. Did Dillian Whyte connect with Derek Chisora's head? The answer is yes. Anyway, it is what it is. But I distinctly remember in the rematch, Dillian Whyte knocking Derek Chisora out cold. So what's that got to do with anything? Was he out on his feet against Oscar Rivas? Was he? Are you sure about that? Have you seen that fight? Have you seen it? Or are you just a numpty? I've got a feeling you're a bit of a numpty. Because Dillian Whyte, he crossed his feet as he was moving to the left, and he got caught with a punch at the very same time. Mark Tibbs was telling him off for it. He crossed his feet. He tripped over his own foot as he got hit. He was off balance. He wasn't out on his feet. He got up. He was perfectly fine. And he won that fight handedly against an Olympian. Dillian Whyte, bear in mind, as of today, has had 37 fights, amateur and pro combined. Yeah, you want to compare back to Deontay Wilder, who's had, 44 fights, just as a professional. Never mind the 36 fights he had as an amateur and the Olympics. Think about it. But you are correct, he was out on his feet in round number 12 against Joseph Parker. Joseph Parker, who has a very good resume. A very good resume. Former WBO World Heavyweight Champion who went the distance with Anthony Joshua. Dillian Whyte, who walked into that fight with a broken hand and a broken rib. Not an opinion, not a narrative, a fact. Fact. Either way, he still won the fight. But that's fine, no, that's fine. But I'll tell you who else has been out on their feet. Deontay Wilder's been out on his feet numerous times. He was out on his feet against Tyson Fury, for sure. But he was out on his feet against Artur Spilka. He got beaten the living hell out of. He got beaten the living hell out of on Johan Duapa. He was literally completely gone in round number 7 against Luis Ortiz. Who's Luis Ortiz beaten, by the way? Who? Who's also older than Povetkin, yes? Who never went to the Olympics, no? Who has a whole bunch of amateur fights but never won anything, correct? Deontay Wilder, who got hit to the canvas by a journeyman in Harold Sconiers. It's only his 13th fight, by the way. Go check it. But Dillian Whyte being out on his feet against Joseph Parker, who has a much better resume than Deontay Wilder, means Deontay Wilder beats him. Guess who's also been out on their feet? Anthony Joshua's been out on their feet as well. Against who? Well, Dillian Whyte in round number 2, toward the end of it. He's been out on his feet against Vladimir Klitschko. So what does that mean? Who else has been out on their feet? Tell you who else. Tyson Fury's been out on his feet. Tyson Fury was out on his feet against Otto Wallin. Go watch the fight. So many people want to try and change and remove it from the archives. Watch round number 12 against Otto Wallin. Fury was on Bambi legs for a while. He was almost gone. Almost gone. Now, it could turn out that Otto Wallin could turn out to be something pretty special. Who knows? But either way, fact, he was out on his feet. He also got dropped by who? Steve Cunningham? Yes. Nevin Pajic? Yes. Deontay Wilder twice? Yes. Did he lose against John McDermott the first time? Yes. Was it awarded to him under strange circumstances? Yes. So what does that prove? It doesn't prove anything, does it? Really doesn't prove anything. And Wilder's only been beaten by a great boxer, Tyson Fury. You're absolutely correct. Tyson Fury is a great boxer, for sure. And in the rematch, he showed that in the rematch, when he's fit, when he's coordinated, when the ring rust is off, Wilder can't hang with him. But that's what's really important. Go back to the first fight, where Tyson Fury was out the ring for, nearly 3 years, for the second best cruiserweight from Albania in Sefer Seferi, then journeyman in Francisco Pianeta, then went over to America and beat Deontay Wilder. This is a Tyson Fury who was out of shape, a Tyson Fury who was uncoordinated, it's a Tyson Fury who was flabby, ring rusty, you name it. Even his own dad, John Fury, said anybody who was even worth their salt would have beaten Tyson on that night. But Wilder couldn't do it. That's how good Wilder is. Officially, he scored a draw, I get that. But most people know Fury got robbed to a draw on that one. Okay, so how good is Wilder really? Who's Wilder knocked out? Who's Wilder beaten? Without mentioning the name Luis Ortiz, who has never beaten anybody himself, but outside of that name, who's he beaten? I bet you can't even tell me. But you can't even tell me who's good that he's beaten. You can't even do it. Dillian Whyte, his resume is far superior to anything that Deontay Wilder has done. Fact, not opinion. Correct? Anyway, congratulations on your numpty of the day comment. I enjoyed that one. Anyway, hopefully that straightens out for a lot of other people who may have had a similar thought process. What does winning a European title have to do with anything? Absolutely nothing. I don't know where you're getting this stupidity from, but if you're coming up with it yourself, then you're a numpty. If you're getting it from somebody else, then they're a numpty. Drop your thoughts below, click thumbs up, subscribe. Catch you on the next video.